What's up guys, David Land here bringing you another diecast review. This time we are taking a look at a Spark 1/43rd scale model. This is the Lowe's Fernandez Racing Lola-Acura from the 2007 American Le Mans Series Championship. Now I got this thing for a steal, and let me tell you, it was a steal on eBay. I got this for $20 plus $4 shipping, so essentially $24 on eBay. This is a huge deal, and a classic David Land eBay steal if I've ever seen one. These are particularly the American Spark models, the ones that are based on American cars, American series, are always, for whatever reason, very hard to find. Usually they're just distributed to the teams, though apparently this model was available through the American Le Mans Series shop in 2007, 2008, during the glory years of sports car racing in this country, at least in my opinion. Yeah, this is a very hard model to find. In fact, there's another one on eBay right now for $120, so the fact that, again, I got this $100 less than what somebody else is valuing it at is fantastic. So this car, as you probably could tell by the name, was driven by Adrian Fernandez and Luis Diaz during the 2007 American Le Mans Series. This was the first year that Acura had an LMP2 car, following Porsche into the American Le Mans Series to compete with Audi, which was running a P1 car at that point. But back in those days, P1 and P2 raced each other, particularly when they had fully funded factory programs racing each other. So you may be able to tell on the box here for the Spark model, collector's model in a presentation box, not a toy. I disagree, it's a toy to me. But anyway, yeah, the box is a bit beat up. I'm not sure if that happened in shipping or if it was just like this. I actually was able to break the collector's tape, the tape on the seal for the plastic shell here. So I'm the first person who's actually seen and touched this since it left the factory in, where is this? Macau. So I'm the first person in the United States to actually touch the model. Fantastic model. In fact, this Lola chassis is probably my favorite looking sports car of all time. But frankly, all the sports cars from this era looked great. So you get this slip cover here, metallic. If you saw my Muscle Milk HPD review, that's the other. In fact, this is my second only ever Spark 1/43rd car. The other one I did a review on as well, and that was the Muscle Milk HPD. Ironically enough, powered by the same Acura power plant. Now this is a difficult thing because as the box is damaged, it does take a little bit of prying to get it out of there, especially because like the material they use is like a styrofoam and cardboard meld, so it kind of does stick there. But yeah, we'll get the car out of there so I can take the plastic case off, and I will take the model off the base, but I do want to show you it on the base. As you can see, this is representing a Lola B05-40 Acura, which is the engine powering it, / LMP2 2007. Now, this was the only Lola powered by an Acura. The Andretti Green team and the Highcroft Racing team, which were the other two cars powered by Acura in 2007, used a Courage chassis, at least for testing, and then eventually they took the Courage tub and pretty much built a bespoke prototype around that, which ended up becoming the ARX 01. And that car has actually had a life all the way up until last year. The last race for the ARXs was in Sebring when the cars were pressed into service after the ARX 04, which was a Wirth design, was not very good. So they pressed that car back into service, and then they went to Ligiers, which the Patron team is currently running. So let's we'll take this model off of its base, and we will take a much closer look at it after the break. So here it is, the beautiful Lowe's Lola out of the box. My goodness, what a beautiful model. Again, this is absolutely, in terms of sports car racing prototypes, my dead-on favorite looking car that has probably ever come out of prototype racing or IMSA or ALMS or whatever you want to call it. The Lola, I think, was perfectly proportioned. This car ran in this configuration for one race, the 12 hours of Sebring. Now they ran the Lola chassis, same Lola chassis, the B05, for the entire season, but there was a change at the front of the car. Now you may notice how the nose here comes straight down. It's actually quite reminiscent of what the ARX Oreca chassis, which the Lowe's team moved to for 2008, ended up doing with a fairly low profile nose. Well, Lola, the next race after this, they moved to a high nose with a little bit of an air intake here at the front, with a little bit of a grill and whatnot. I'm not really sure what that was for, but that's actually carried over all the way until the most recent Lola Mazdas in the Tudor series. So it's obviously was there for something. I don't know exactly what, but it's an interesting thing nonetheless. So essentially, this is either, you could consider this a presentation car, or you could consider it the 12 Hours of Sebring car, which finished on the podium. Though second place in LMP2. They were beaten to the line by the Andretti Green Racing Acura, which was a Courage chassis. Easy for me to say. But it was essentially at that point it had already kind of turned into the ARX, the Acura ARX chassis at that point. So Andretti Green scored the first victory for Acura and very nearly scored an overall victory at Sebring, just getting beaten by one of the Audi R10 diesels to the line. So that would end up going to Penske the next year with the RS Spider becoming the first P2 car to win overall at Sebring. But look at, I absolutely love the detail. I mean, again, Spark models are generally very expensive, particularly when they're new. A lot of people complain about that, but they get the details right. And so if you're patient and you can wait a little bit, and you realize that a model may come up later on, you can usually get these fairly discounted, like I did, getting this model for under $30. I mean, that's an incredible bargain, especially for something as desirable as an ALMS car. The ALMS cars, again, are very desirable, particularly, again, in the United States, because, I mean, this was our championship, and we do love to support these cars. So a lot of detail here on the Spark model. We're going to start here on the front. As you can see, the Mexican flag, because of course Adrian Fernandez and Luis Diaz were both Mexican, an all-Mexican driver lineup and ownership, but the team, I believe, was also run by some Honda IndyCar guys, or ex-Honda IndyCar guys, as this was kind of Honda's big championship at this point. By this point, IndyCar was spec, there was no competition, so Honda was fully focused on getting the best personnel to the ALMS, because that's where the competition was. As you can see, you've got detailing for the toe strap there, or the toe hook where the strap would go. You've also got the aerial where the radio would be beamed to the car, and we've got a ton of cockpit detail here. You can see the pedals are modeled and painted. The interior is also painted, all the little gauges, the fire extinguisher, the seat belts, which are asymmetrically painted. I don't know if that's the way it was on the car. I assume it was. I don't know why it was that way, though. Here's the driver names, as you can see, Fernandez and Diaz. I think another driver, David Martinez, was listed, but never actually drove the car ever. And he was also Mexican, by the way. He actually had a few Champ Car starts. Acura. In fact, all the Acura cars, even for when Acura was fully supporting these, they always had this dark blue stripe around it. You can actually tell because it's a little bit different shade of blue than the actual Lowe's colors, which is interesting to see. But a beautiful livery here, and this little thing here is actually an air intake. So that's essentially what we call in IndyCar land an air box. But that's how you do it, IndyCar. That's how you make an air box not look terrible. And then let's go on to this side of the car. We haven't even looked at the side yet. There's so much detail. We'll also take a look at the mirrors here. If it would focus. Please focus. There we go. You got Lowe's on the mirrors. Let's go over to the side of the car. where you've got the aerodynamic winglets, I guess you could call them, down the side of the car. I think those look fantastic. Also detailed headlights. The wheels are correct and have got the proper Michelin branding. Mexican flag and the American flag, the two flags of the team, of where the team members are from, I should say. Then you've got a little bit of Mexican flag going on down the side, IMSA, American Le Mans Series, and Sunoco. And you've got the big Lowe's logo there. Michelin tires, and there's a little bit of play on the wheel, but that's just because it's play. Models do not roll. Spark models do not roll. And Quaker State, longtime sponsor of Adrian Fernandez. You've got the Michelin logo and the Prototype 2 logo, the classification I should say. You got the big Lowe's logo on the rear wing. I love these big rear wings as well on these old prototype cars. Essentially, they've gone back to big rear wings, by the way. They're essentially big rear wings again. They made them, shorten them for a while, and then they extended them again. You got some grill work here on the back, another toe hook, Lowe's on the cheese wedge, or as we affectionately call them, the cheese wedge. Then you've also got detail here on the bottom. You got the diffuser, which I felt was a little bit loose, so I'm going to be careful with that. There's the tires. You can see a little bit of sawdust or whatever. Yeah, that's the thing. The bases are wooden on Spark models, so you do get sawdust everywhere when you do take them off of the base. And then you've got the little barge board on the underside of the car. And there's a little bit of suspension detail, but not a whole lot. And it doesn't really matter anyway, because honestly, you're usually going to be displaying this car out of the or right side up, unless you've got like a diorama where you want to smash up a $80 Spark model for no reason. But really, see, there's the sawdust again. As we moved the car a little bit fell out. But an absolutely fantastic model. This was kind of what I fell in love with in terms of sports car racing, what kind of made me a fan, this era of sports cars. Just beautiful cars. They sounded amazing. I got to hear this engine. It was in a ARX 01 or 03 B, I think that was the designation. It was like alphabet soup with the Acura prototypes, but it was the muscle milk car. You saw the review of that. And it just sounded wonderful. They used V8 engines, both Acura and Porsche. Just wonderful, wonderful sounding cars. And I really do wish prototypes looked like this again. That's why I always go off on Instagram, make prototypes great again, because, I mean, you don't get much better than this. And anybody who says that Daytona prototype comes anywhere close to touching this is completely off of their rocker. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. This has been David Land on YouTube. I'll try to do, again, more sports cars, more F1, more stuff like this when I find it, when I get good deals. I've got a couple cars on my radar, so maybe I'll be hoping to do some more of that very soon. I don't think I showed off the extra logos here real quick. There are some logos here on the roll hoop. Underneath the roll hoop, I should say. If it would focus, yeah, Fernandez Racing, Lowe's, and Acura. Just to get a complete and total review. Now we have done that. So thank you guys so much for watching. This has been David Land on YouTube. Let me know in the comments if you have any memories of this car, or have any memories of the ALMS, or if you're a Mexican fan. Certainly Adrian Fernandez, from what I understand, and I was wrong about this about Juan Pablo Montoya, I was told in the comments, but Adrian Fernandez is spectacularly popular in Mexico. Fans will drive very, very long ways to go see Adrian Fernandez drive because he is that big of a hero in his home country. But I'd love to hear the discussion in the comments, and it's always great when people share their knowledge and insight to these race cars, these wonderful, beautiful race cars from back in the day. So thank you guys so much for watching. This has been David Land on YouTube, and we'll see you in the next video.